Okay, good evening, everyone. Just like to thank you all for joining us this evening for Maynooth University CAO Information Evening. You're all very welcome to the session, which will apologies there now. This session, which will focus on our offerings in science and engineering. My name is Amanda Cardiff, and I work in the Faculty of Science and Engineering as their marketing officer. We're delighted to have you with us tonight and hope you find this talk both enjoyable and informative. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A section. We'll address them towards the end. We love hearing your questions, so don't hesitate to ask them. Now I'd like to introduce you to our speakers. Leading the session is Professor John Keating, Associate Dean for Teaching and Learning at the Faculty of Science and Engineering at Maynooth University. Professor Keating brings a wealth of experience, having worked in various roles at the university over many years. And as a former student of Maynooth, also offers a unique perspective on what it's like to study here. We're also delighted to be joined by two of our current students from the Faculty of Science and Engineering, Glory, a second-year student in the Bachelor of Science programme, and Daniel, a fourth-year student in Biomedical Engineering. Glory and Daniel have kindly given up time from their very busy schedules at the moment with studying and exams. They'll talk about their experience of being students at Maynooth University, and we're very grateful for that. Okay, with that, I'll hand you over to Professor Keating to get us started. Hello, John.
Hi, Amanda. It's great to be here, and thanks, Daniel and Gloria. I could echo, Amanda's thanks. They're saying it's great. It's a busy time. We know exams are full swing, and it's lovely to have you here as well. And it's lovely to have, visitors to us online. And I'm delighted to talk about Maynooth, and in particular, I'm going to talk about our MH201 offering and some of the other offerings as well. I'm the Associate Dean for teaching and learning in our faculty, which means I look at, teaching, quality, innovations, looking at revising our programs, all things teaching, all things learning, comes to my door, really. But I'm also a member of staff in the Department of Computer Science, and have been there since 1990. So it's quite a while now. And as Amanda mentioned earlier, I'm a former Maynooth student as well. I did my undergraduate degree here, and this was back in 1982. I think I came to Maynooth and did ultimately in 1986. Then I got a degree in double honours degree in physics and maths, and then went on to do a PhD here in the physics department in atmospheric physics, and finished in 1990, and then got a job here in computer science. Not having studied computer science, and that is a bit telling in itself about Maynooth, in a way that, and doing science, that, your subject choices and what you do and the careers you have, you have great flexibility in terms of where you end up and what you do. And I mean, I came from a second level school in Castledermot, a vocational school. Weren't too many people went to university from my school at that time, back in the 80s. And it was great encouragement, but Maynooth was wonderful because it allowed me to experience university, experience choices, experience those subjects. And having been the first member of a family that had gone to university, as well, Maynooth really made me understand and helped me understand what it was like to go to university and to be there. So I never left. I liked it so much, but anyway, that's part and parcel of that. I actually did MH201, and it was at a time when there was only MH201 and a math science degree as well. And so I studied maths, physics, and biology in first year, having not studied physics in school or not studied maths physics in school. And this may come as a surprise to younger listeners, for example, that when I was in second level school, the reason I didn't do physics is because I was in the girls' class, and girls didn't do physics in my school. They didn't do chemistry. They only studied biology. So I did the girls' subjects, as it was at that point. And so ended up coming to Maynooth having a good maths background, but not having really much other science stuff. And yet I was able to finish with a degree in physics and maths and a PhD in physics, having not done this in school. Maynooth provided me with that enculturation and that learning environment where I could learn the subjects from scratch because I wanted to in first year and progress. And that ethos is still here today. We still do this. We take students and we give them an exposure to a subject and we build them up and we scaffold their learning. And then, you are on the same footing by the end of first year. You know as much about physics probably as people who didn't, or maybe even more before they came in first year. So it's wonderful. So we have a short presentation, a formal presentation, I guess, that's based on our documentation, which I'll walk through. Amanda's going to show, because I have some technical problems here with my machine, and Amanda will take us through the slides and I will get here. So this is our kind of standard Maynooth photo, as will be alluded to a little bit later. It merges the old and the new. This is our wonderful library building. It's a fairly brand new building. There's a brand new extension on an older building that was built in the 1980s. Way behind this, you can't see it now. This is an extension. The extension dwarfs the original building. And prior to that, you can see, or just behind that, you can see the gun chapel, Maynooth Chapel, which is attached to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth. And there's another library in there called the Russell Library, which is a research and old library. And it was the library I studied in when I was a student here. And so none of this existed. But now the students, have a cafe just underneath. They have computer workstations. They've got working rooms. All the work happened over the summer in order to make the library a really live, dynamic place where students can go and book and work and do teamwork and, work on presentations, and all of those skills that they need, in order to work in a modern workplace, are honed and perfected in that library space. It isn't just about the books, okay? But the books are important too, but it's about that place of learning. A good university has a good library, and we have several, and it's really, really important. And they support all of our offerings. Yeah, so maybe we might move on then, Amanda. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at Maynooth University. I'll mostly focus a little bit on MH201, the science offering, talk briefly about the specialized degrees and the science degrees and engineering degrees. And again, and Daniel and Glory will talk about the student perspectives on being students here, being here, and it's not always about the courses, it's about your life as a student in Maynooth, and all that it brings. So we'll move on to the introduction then. Thank you. So we have a number of departments. We have biology, chemistry, computer science, and it's my home department, so I often just refer to it as CS. Electronic engineering, experimental physics, mathematical physics, mathematics and statistics, and psychology. Now, these are the departments that offer degrees, through science entry. Experimental physics and mathematical physics, and sometimes you'll hear that referred to as theoretical physics, they recently joined to form a department of physics. Okay, but if you look at the offerings that are coming through from the choices of subjects that you have, you will see them as two separate subjects because traditionally that we have always done this, and that's been retained. So we still can have math science degrees and mathematical physics degrees and experimental physics degrees, but they're now all in a unified department of physics. And they share a building with chemistry as well. So if you come back, thanks Amanda, the next slide is perfect. So if you're a Maynooth science student, then you're going to have access to not just the buildings, not just those courses, you have access to the people, the researchers, the academic cohort. You have access to other students, older students. You have access to a graduate population, people doing doctorates, technicians, supports, tutors, math centers, academic support, student support, map support, lots of people. But you also have world-class research institutes involved in generating new science, okay, and working and developing science, and engineering. So you have Callan Institute, Hamilton Institute, Institute for Immunology, and the National Centre for Geocomputation, for example. And these are people working in these institutes and in the academic departments that drive science. So you come and you learn science from these people. They teach you, and not just about the subject, they teach you about being a scientist. And you'll hear Gloria and Daniel talk about doing stuff, and being the scientist, working in the lab, being these people who are learning about and learning to be scientists. And that can only happen if you have these centers, you have these labs, you have these places where you become acculturated, where you become part of being what being a scientist is. So that when you leave, you're formed, you're a fully formed scientist, ready to go and work in whatever those jobs are. And there are lots of those, which we see a little bit later. Central to that is your understanding and development of strong problem solving and analytical skills. And these are core. If somebody asks you, how do I solve a problem, this problem, you have to sometimes break it down. It may be a problem that hasn't been solved directly before, but you have to be able to use the basic knowledge that you've learned in order to be able to figure it out. And that's only through a continued progression. Like I remember somebody saying to me that one of the first things they were asked to do was there was a huge reservoir, and so, well, how much energy will it take to raise the temperature of the water by 1 degree? That's basic physics, but you still have to figure out all that stuff, right? I mean, but these are all, you can figure these things out. So, I mean, the students will also help make this happen through the practical sessions and lab sessions, tutorial sessions, talking to lecturers, talking to your peers, working in teams, doing your own research, doing your own study, doing your assignments, attending lectures, all that stuff in our state-of-the-art buildings would be how it happens. You'll also develop really strong teamwork, leadership, and numeracy skills. I mean, and those are crucial if you want to be a scientist, or you want to be an engineer. You have to think about that being your language as well. And that's core. So and this is not in any way to dismiss the linguistic competencies that are required in terms of understanding English. Being able to speak fluently in your subject, being able to talk about your subject, understanding the words in that subject, the register, the language register, the discipline. It's really important. You hear Daniel and Glory talking, and that they're very competent speakers, and the fact that they have strong, competent language skills in conjunction to having good practical, experimental skills and really strong problem solving and analytical skills, that's what makes them the scientists they are now. Okay, so it's really, really important. So thanks, Amanda. The beautiful thing about MH201, and it's been there since I was a young fella, is that it's your degree, your choice of subjects, and it helps you shape your future. You have lots of flexibilities where you can make an informed decision. Lots of talk on campus at the moment about, the 4-week flexible option that you have. Come in first year, you can make a choice. Should it be 4 weeks? Is it too long? Should we not? Should it be shorter? Should we have more offerings? We're constantly looking and reviewing and talking to the students, talking to the staff, talking to everybody about, well, what is the best experience? But generally, where we are now is that you have time when you apply to Maynooth to go to lectures in different subjects in your first year, plan and schedule and look and see, well, is this subject for me? I mean, I went to chemistry and I went to physics when I was a first year. Went to lectures over 2 weeks in each of them, and then finally made the decision after 2 weeks that no, I will do physics and I'll do mathematical physics. I won't do chemistry. I had that option. I thought I might like to do chemistry. I liked the idea of it. I had a chemistry set when I was a kid. I like building stuff. But actually, more importantly, I like to cook, and I thought cooking is all about chemistry. So, but like in the end, I just said I'll just stick with cooking as cooking, and then just do physics. So it was fine. But I had time to do this, and students now still have time to do this. And we also have, for example, denominator degree entries, and it is possible to transfer into some of those from MH201 if you start. And Amanda will show you the list now of those a little bit later, but maybe we move down to that. Yeah, next one. Okay. Okay, we just go back. We just go back again. I'll show you the transfer options a little bit later. Okay. So, getting into Maynooth, there is no language requirement, but let me tell you, being able to talk about your subject is essential. Having a good language skills, is covered. We see you need Irish and English and a science subject. There's no foreign language requirement, but your English language skills are really, really important as well. as well as your mathematics. You know, I mean, we do expect you to have mathematics, but we don't have a third language or outside of Irish and English. Because, you know, the maths is really, really important. You know, maths is there for us to be able to express numerically, you know, problems that we can then solve. And it's part and parcel of being a scientist. Now, you don't have to do maths for the whole of your degree unless you want to be a mathematician or do maths or love maths and find it really interesting, and lots of people do. But it's there as a way to help you solve problems a lot faster. Okay, it really helps you get to answers a lot faster. I mean, it's I'm still doing maths every day. I'm doing maths. You know, I'm doing a course in amateur radio, and I'm learning maths again, back doing maths again. It's there. It's always there. It's lovely to see it in a practical context. And sometimes we study maths as in isolation and look at it as in isolation. When you come to do Minute, you will not see maths in isolation. You know, it really does help you with the rest of your subjects. And that's the way to think about it. It's a great subject in its own right. Of course, I did my degree in maths and physics, so I mean, I love it. But please don't be worried about the fact that you have to have maths to do a science degree. It becomes part and parcel of who you are. The CAO points then are around 350 last time. I think the average student mark be higher than that, okay, of coming in, much higher, but that was the base level. And there are, you know, it may change next year. You know, it changes from year to year. I'm not involved in any of that process, but you know, basic idea: try to do well in maths. You have a science subject, you'll be good. But don't worry if you don't have more than one science subject. You can always pick them up in first year. We'll move on, Amanda. Thank you. So you have 8 subjects in first year. You choose maths plus 3 other subjects. Okay, that's your first year program. And you have 4 weeks then to decide on your choice of which they will be. But you will take that 4, and they will be with you then for first year. When it comes to second year, you will drop one of those subjects, and you also have the chance of maybe taking in some electives. Okay, and I think we have a list then after this. So in second year, you continue with 3 subjects. Third year, you have 2 subjects. And in fourth year, you can either carry those 2 subjects to a double honors degree like I did, or you can have a single honors subject in one. So you could maybe take computer science, maths, physics in first year, work along, and then have drop one of them, keep maths maybe in second year, maybe drop physics in third year, and then drop maths physics if you want, and then have computer science and maths physics as a double honors, or you could just drop one or the other of them and then take it to a single honors. So you do have choices every year, and each year allows you to become more and more immersed in that subject. Sometimes you don't have to do a single honors subject. Double honors are often really, really useful. I was just telling in an earlier session there that I had a student who wanted to work in the games industry. Brilliant student. And he did mathematical physics and computer science. You know, he could have taken a denominator degree to do computer science and software engineering, but he didn't take that one because he wanted to do gaming, which meant he needed to build game models and world models. So he actually did MH201 and then did computer science, the same level of computer science he would have got in computer science and software engineering, but with the maths physics, he was able to understand and build models of the world, game worlds in computers. And then he ended up working on Xbox for Microsoft, building water models in games, realistic water models. So, and that's somebody who decided, well, I want to do maths, physics, and computer science, and that's the kind of thing you can do. Really, you can tailor and progress for yourself if you know what you're doing and know what you want to do. And maybe you might not realize until a little bit later, but that's not such a problem. I mentioned transfer options beforehand, and we have some here, and we have a list which shows that there are a number of options into different degrees that you can switch to. Sometimes in year 3 or just sometimes in year 2, there aren't always a lot of places available, but because mostly these will have people coming in on that denominated entry itself. And you may have some requirements on the kinds of subjects that you will have done. A lot of the time, the progression relies on a case being made to the head of department, and then depends on whether they're oversubscribed or not. They have their ways of making the selections. But it is possible to do that. But more importantly, you can choose and organize your MH201 degree. If we move on to the next slide, you can see that how this works really at university here in Maynooth is that we notionally assign these ECTS or 60 credits of work, and each one credit equates to a certain number of hours of work. And maybe those hours, maybe it's 60 to be 3 hours of work, for example. So one credit might be 3 hours of work. So you do 60, or whatever, 5 hours of work. And it depends how it worked out. And so those credits might mean that you take 2 hours of lectures a week, plus a 3-hour lab, plus independent study, maybe a tutorial. So, sometimes those 15 credits in first year are built into two 7.5 credit modules that you will take. Or maybe in second year, you might have 5 4-credit modules. But the point, I guess, we look at this is we try to balance the amount of work across each of the subjects in each of the years so that they're equal. And every staff member knows the amount of work associated with a credit, and they know then how much, so no one subject is easier than another in terms of the amount of work that happens. And this is worked out at an international level, so it's recognized and understood. Like, every master's degree will be 180 credits, for example. We know all of these things, and the same thing with the undergraduate degrees. As you can see, when you move to second year, you can choose 2 main subjects and a minor, if you like, with and some electives, or you can just have 3 20 credits, and then it moves to 30 credits. In fourth year, you can have 30 credits in both for a double honors, or 60 credits in one for a full single honors degree program. So would you take the single or double major? Well, that depends on you. As I said, I had a student who decided, absolutely, I'm doing a double honors because that's what's going to get me my job. That's where I'm going to go. It's going to prepare me. Some will say, no, I want to do computer science and just do computer science. I just want to do biology and want to do biology. Some will say, I want to teach something. I want to teach physics and maths, so it will help me become a good physics and maths teacher. I have options here, and I'll do both of these as well. Some may want to work in industry, but what you want to do depends on you, on your plans and interests. And there are offices that will help you with this. I think, we have lots of roles. I think maybe the next slide gives us all those roles, but we know Amanda works on contacting students, former students, and what they're doing and telling us what you're doing and what's your role. And these are people who do MH201. These are their jobs, and they started doing a general science. There are computer scientists, cryptographers, working in educators, genetic specialists, cosmology, lots and lots of roles. These are real roles from real people who come back to Maynooth and tell us, this is what I'm doing because I did this degree. They want to share that information with us. So, it's nice to know where you can go. And remember, there are probably going to be jobs available for you that don't exist yet. Some of these jobs that are available now didn't exist when I was a student, and with all the advances in quantum computing, AI, biomed, pharma, there may be roles that we don't actually know exist just yet, but that's okay. They may not even exist for several years after you get your degree, but you can move into those roles if you have a good grounding. The thing is to look at the strengths you have and where you can go with what you have learned and knowing how you learn, and that will help prepare you for those. And you can always upskill and do something else afterwards. It's no problem doing that. Nothing is fixed and changed, So if you already know what you want to study, and we do have a choice of specialized degrees as well. We're not trying to push everybody into an open, flexible degree. You may know what you want to work on now, and choose that program straight away. So we have lots of them, and we have the list and the programs, and you can look up the online documentation for these: biotech, biological biomed, pharmaceutical biomedical chemistry. We have the new ones on sports science and health, food science, human nutrition. We have nursing coming along line and a little bit later as well. Psychology is there. Some engineering ones and more science, data science, of course, which is so important these days. Theoretical physics and maths, math science and maths and computer science, or science with education for teaching. Fantastic degrees. And we have some engineering ones as well on the next slide, I think, and computer science ones. So lots of computer science ones, but we'll move on to the engineering ones. Next slide. So we have a bachelor's and master's of electronic engineering, product design, and robotics and intelligent devices. Now that's a fantastic offering, really. And if you get a chance to come to our open days, please talk to the robotics, see what's happening in the world of robotics. I mean, you can't miss it now, right? You just cannot miss what's happening in robotics and AI, and it's how it's changing the world now, okay? And it's how we're preparing and building for that. You know, if you go down to the local hotel and pop into the cafe there, you'll be served by a robot, you know. I don't know whether it's a good or a bad thing, but like, you know, it's commonplace, right? You know, you should be looking at saying, how does this work? Okay. But anyhow, so coming to Maynooth is all well and good. You know, not everybody has plain sailing through, and you might need some support. We have academic advisory, program advisories, math support center, computer science support centers, writing support. Writing is so important, you know. I mean, communicating science is really, really important. We have language supports, we have a career service. There are so many people available to help you with any aspects that you might have of your educational journey through Maynooth. And these are available to you. You know, you just have to ask if you need some information. And one of the best ways of getting some information is to come and see us on the open days. So we've had some already, and this is the information evening now, but spring and summer days are coming in April and June. And we have guidance counselor support in September, but you can always email us. You could email me, you could email Amanda, you could go to the website and ask on the Ask Question Asks. You have loads of options to do this. And if you could ask heads of department, you can contact, you know, you can make contact with the societies, you know, to see what it's like. Talk to people who are in Maynooth already, you know. But there's always ways of finding out more information that you need for you, because this kind of presentation is really, the main purpose of this is to open the door and say, look, we're here to talk if you want to ask us anything. And then we hope that you will continue to contact after that. Okay, so I hope it's given you some insight. I mean, Daniel and Glory will tell you a little bit about being students here, and I can come back and answer any questions at the end. So thank you very much. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks a million, John. That was fantastic and an amazing presentation, thorough on the science and engineering available in Maynooth University. So without further ado, I will pass you on to Gloria, I should say, our second year student in the Bachelor of Science in Engineering in Maynooth University.
Hi, I'm Glory and I'm a second year student in general science. So I'm just going to talk a bit about my experience in Maynooth. So the reason why I picked general science is because I have a really passion for science and especially in skincare. And at the beginning, actually in sixth year, I didn't know that I was interested in skincare and only knew that going into this degree. So the reason why I actually picked general science over specialized degrees was because in sixth year, you're like 17, 18, you don't know what you want to do. You want to do this, you want to do that. But in general science, you have so many options. And like John was saying, you have your 4 weeks to like switch and go into chemistry. I actually did that. I was trying, we have data science. I was trying data science. I was looking into all those and decided that wasn't for me. And I decided to go with experimental physics, maths, which you have to do, chemistry and biology. And I'm not particularly good at maths, but what really good is in Maynooth, you have so many support centers. So there was actually a math support center in the library, and I would always go there if I had any homework, any if I needed any help in my homework assignments, and it was just so handy to have the support. We also have new chemistry supports. So if you feel like there's a subject like that's putting you off, like if you're not good in chemistry, you don't need to do chemistry. You can do other subjects. There's so many other subjects that you can do. The lectures are so welcoming. You can, if you're stuck on anything, literally go up to them, don't be scared, and literally just ask questions. Literally like how school is. You just go up to them and ask any questions. They're always there for you. And my favorite thing about general science and studying in Maynooth specifically is the labs. There's a hands-on experience in the labs. It's literally like I'm a scientist. Literally like when you're working in the labs, you have your demonstrators with you, but it's literally like it's your lab. And literally all around you, all the people that you're meeting through your classes and labs, especially for me, I became best friends with people that are in my labs. You can literally sit wherever you want. I remember in first year we were put we were put in like places, but what I like about that is because in first year you're kind of like you don't know anyone, so you'd rather be like in sitting with random people so you can become friends with. So after first year, I became friends with like so many people through labs. And it's so fun to be in a lab just working with your friends. And with the labs, we're given pre-labs, which you watch at home. And I always think of working in a lab like cooking because you watch these videos at home and then literally all you have to do in the lab is demonstrate it in the lab. And then obviously if you need any help, you have your demonstrators. And um, yeah, so also for the social side, we have many societies and also so much going on in the nightlife, which I know is really interesting for students to hear. I'm in the Women in Science STEM Society and the Biology Society. And the Women in STEM Society also guys can join because a lot of people think women in STEM. But what I love about the Women in STEM Society, it's so empowering. There's girls, there's guys, everyone just talking about science and how the application in the world in healthcare. Literally a couple of weeks ago, we had a meeting, a pizza party where a graduate program came in, and we literally just had pizza and drank Coke and just talked about the graduate program. And it was just so nice, little um little meetings after college, after a long day of college. And speaking of long days, um, studying wise, we have a library, and in the library we actually have a Starbucks. And speaking of the Starbucks, I know the students when they're studying, we always want a little sweet treat, and we have Starbucks. You can go get a little caramel frap. I love a good caramel frap after a long day of studying. And we have Aldi, Dunn's, Tesco, literally so many shops. So don't be stressing about bringing lunch. Or we even have a Londa's actually in our Intis. I think it's in our Intis. Or yeah, no, yeah, John Hume, I think. It's in John Hume. Yeah, so it's really handy. Like if you're going to your class, you can just run to Londa's and get a drink if you need a Red Bull or something. Um, Going on to talking about like the social life, we have the Roost and Brady's, literally 5 minute walk or 10 minute walk from anywhere in the campus, and they have things going on every weekend. Like we have like main things, we have Christmas Day and Halloween, but they have stuff going on literally every week. And I'd really recommend going to Freshers. It's really fun. And it's how like you make your friends, so it's really nice. Um there is also lots of different other societies. We have French Society, Fashion Society, Robotics Society, Drama Society. So there's different, like literally so many. I could talk on and on about it. But literally anything you're interested in, there's a society for it and a club for it. And we also have a careers fair where you can go around and look at what clubs inside society you want to join before deciding what you want to join. And you can join as many as you like. And speaking of societies, the Biology Society, which I'm also a part of, we have a biology ball, which is really exciting. I didn't actually go to last year's one because I didn't know, but there's one every year, and it's actually happening in March. And there's a theme for it where you dress up and like you can meet friends from there as well. And it's all the biology people, like literally from all different degrees, and we all like dress up and have fun. So really excited for that. Um, Also, one thing I love about general is that if you're like, so say like you're doing science, but you're interested in like politics or English side or languages, we have an elective where it's like you do half of one subject and half of another subject. So I'm doing experimental physics, not my strongest subject. So I decided to do an elective. I'm doing scientific writing. So it's just a nice little break from doing physics where I can learn how the applications of science through writing. So I'm really interested in skincare. So like literally the good thing about elective actually is you don't need to do an exam depending on the elective. And my elective is just all continuous, so I have no exam for that. And it's just two assignments. And I had like a little essay and I wrote about how in skincare, how the science in skincare works. So that's what I love about it. And I'll tell you one more thing is what I love about Maynooth is we have a South and North campus, and the South campus is beautiful. The North campus is really beautiful too. The North campus is just really modern, but if you really want aesthetic photos, I'd say go to the South campus. I personally love walking there when I'm going going to classes, just walking through South Campus, especially in autumn when all the leaves are on the ground. It's really beautiful. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thanks a million, Glory. You really brought the campus to life there. You're great. Thanks a million. And I hope the audience has got that from you as well. So just to hand over to Danielle to give your perspective as a fourth year student in biomedical engineering. Hi, Danielle.
Yeah, so I'm Daniel. I'm fourth year biomedical science. A little bit about my experience. Maynooth actually wasn't my first choice. So my first choice was medicine because I had no idea what I wanted to do and it felt like a safe option. But eventually I went with biomed in Maynooth and I was really happy because I've always been curious about, anything to do with science, biology, chemistry, physics. I was really good at biology and chemistry in secondary school. So going into college, I knew that was kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something around that area. And biomedical science felt like the perfect mix of bringing biology and, practical applications. And it really teaches you how science can solve real world problems, especially in healthcare. I applied through just a regular CAO route, and I chose ME208 because it gave me the chance to try out different science subjects before specializing. And I really liked that flexibility, figuring out what I was most interested in while still, being on the right path. Plus, Maynooth has a good reputation for science and immunology and math and physics and all these kind of things. So yeah, I'm really glad I picked the course because it really exposes you to different subjects. In first year, you do a lot of biology, chemistry, math. You can do data science. You can do a whole lot of things before really like specializing. And then in second year, I dropped math because I'm not the best at math. But there's also a lot of supports, especially doing biology. There's the writing support center because in biology you do have to write a lot of essays and dissertations, and I just finished my thesis just there. So if you're someone who kind of struggles with writing and citations and all that kind of stuff, it's really good. They're really helpful. Doing biology really gives you a real hands-on experience with lectures and labs. The labs are really cool. You get to do a lot of different stuff, especially doing biomed because you do like ecology. You get to go on field trips. You get to work with like frogs and dissecting frogs, and you get to see like electrical impulses in animals and all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool to do. As for the social aspect, I love Maynooth because it's not the biggest college, it's not the smallest college, so you can really get everything in a day. You can really see everything, go everywhere. You can get around the campus in like 10 minutes, and then outside the campus, there's a lot of different restaurants and different spots and different, like she said, there's Aldi and Dunn's, and there's also a lot of like places to eat out and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. The campus is really nice. There's a lot of scenery and greenery, lots of trees, lots of like outdoor spaces to hang out and stuff. South Campus is really nice. If you've ever seen any graduation photos, they're usually taken in South Campus in front of the Callan building, I think. So it's really cool. I worked here over the summer and I would always go to South Campus to just take a walk and clear my head. And, out in the sun, you see people walking your dogs and out with your friends and stuff. So it's really nice. As for the course, it's really cool if you want to go into science, but you want to keep your options open while still getting a lot of practical experience. For campus life is really cool, really amazing. It's really nice living on campus because everything is just close by. All the clubs, societies, anything you want to do. I do badminton. I'm also part of the Purpose Society, which is like a society where we can just come and have open discussions and DMCs about like life and marriage and love and all that kind of stuff. And we have like coffee mornings and all these kind of things. And you always have merch when you're in societies. You have balls. You can dress up with your friends, take pictures for Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I also do badminton, which I only joined in third year and I had never done it before, but it was really easy to just come in as a beginner. There's so many rackets you can just pick up, go with your friends, and you can just like learn the sport. It's not competitive at all. They have like different areas for like, the people who have been in the sport for a while and who are competitive. And then they have spaces for just the beginners to just come and just, play around with your friends. They also have a lot of like, soccer, all that kind of stuff. They have a gym here. It's not the it's not a world class gym, but it does the job. If you want to just go and get a pump and all that kind of stuff, there's treadmills and everything there. There's the soccer fields and the GA fields at the back. And if you live on campus, you'll have a view of the fields if you get a nice room. I'm on the courtyard apartments, but there's also a lot of other apartments like the Rye Hall, River, Village. And depending on the type of person you are, I like my space. So I got an ensuite room with my bathroom, but you can also get a shared bathroom with other people. And if you can't find accommodation on campus, there's also digs. There's also a lot of satellite towns around Maynooth where you can find accommodation, and it's kind of nice as well because you get to kind of live with other people, so you're not really secluded and you're not really living in your own, kind of living with a family as well. But yeah, after this, I hope to do a master's in immunology, which is also something I didn't know I wanted to do until about third year. So, I mean, if you're coming to first year and thinking, it's the end of the world because I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do until third year. So, yeah, that's just another thing to keep in mind. So I hope to do that, and then I hope to work in a pharmaceutical company after that. And it's really cool because this course has really let me pursue my passion in like medical breakthroughs and developing new treatments and just helping people in general. And my advice for first years is just don't stress, because I mean, if you are stressing, there's a lot of people around you who have the same mindset, a lot of people around you who are stressing as well. So like you're all in the same boat, so don't think like everyone has it figured out. Use your first year to kind of explore, figure things out, meet new people. I mean, you can meet. I always sometimes complain about like the amount of new people I meet every year. So third year, I'll join a different society or I'll move to a different accommodation or something, and I meet so many new people, and it's like it's so hard to keep track of all the names and everything. So you always meet new people, and you always you just figure out yourself and you figure out the campus and everything. Definitely get involved in campus life. It's such a good way to make friends, and don't skip your lectures because they are very important. Go talk to your teachers if you have any problems and everything. They're really nice, they're really helpful, they really want you to pass and they really want you to progress. And just like John has been saying, go to the open days. They're really nice to really get a lot of deeper information about anything you're particularly interested in. So yeah, that's me.
That's brilliant. Thanks a million for that, Daniel. That was an amazing presentation and overview of the course. And it's great to get a perspective from a fourth year student, especially. I loved your insight into how you've grown in your opinion of what you wanted to do since you started in first year. That's, I think, great information for students as they look to start this part of their life. So we are pushing on time. So just to see if there's any questions that have come in, and there is one there from anonymous. So what are the labs like in Maynooth, and is there enough equipment for every student doing a course? So I'm not sure. I know Glory gave a great answer there on the labs and how she worked there, but maybe you might want to elaborate on that, John.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Glory mentioned about her lab work earlier as well, and that was fantastic to hear that. And so the answer is yes, students will have access to individual lab work. You don't look at somebody else doing something. Everybody has the opportunity to engage in work in lab work themselves and deal with equipment. And it's part and parcel of being a scientist. Some labs are virtual, virtual spaces, because it's useful to have virtual spaces, or you may have pre-labs, as Glory mentioned as well, which are online things. But a lot of the time, there are physical labs available for you to work. And I can talk about my department in computer science as well, is that we have hundreds of computers in labs. Every student who goes to a lab, excuse me, has their own computer to work. A lot of them have their own computers and they bring them in, but as well. And it's possible to do that, but we actually have labs. And then when you get the final year, we have a fourth year lab where students will be assigned a computer in that lab, and then that's their space. It's not just for lab times. They can go in and out, and I have students go in at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're there till 10 o'clock at night, and our other labs are open. So when there aren't scheduled labs, you can go in and use those labs as well. So there are lots of facilities available for students to work, and there's lots of places where you can book spaces for work as well on campus. And that, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, I
Something
think
Daniel
so.
mentioned about there actually is quite interesting as well. I'd forgotten about the gym. I know you wouldn't look at me and think I spend any time at the gym, but he's right. The gym, while it's quite okay, is not world class. But there are plans underway and have been approved to add a second level to the gym, to Phoenix. So there will be a new gym going in there as well on top of the existing one. We do have for the rugby people and for some of the people who are involved in on the sports scholarships, they have their own gym as well that they use, too. So on some of those scholarship gyms, I'm only in there occasionally myself, but the new one should be better, I think. And lessons will be learned, as Daniel says. It's good, but it's oversubscribed. You have to get in. If you want to do free weights or something, there are a lot of machines, and some people, like old guys like me, want to just do lift. But because we have the sports science happening as well now, that's the reason we are going to have all these new gym and lab gym facilities as well. So I think it's nice to know that there's a huge commitment to building projects to improve the facilities. Won't be good for Daniel, who is leaving, but he's still going to do a master's. Hopefully it'll be here. You might get to avail of it, and I might get to avail before I retire as well. So it's a win for everyone. So not just the new students. I don't think there are any other questions, Amanda, but as I said
No,
before.
I think that they were the only questions that came in, and I'm just very conscious of the time of night it is, and just to maybe to wrap up now, but just to say, if we didn't get to any questions if you have a question that you didn't get to put in, or we didn't get to this evening, the Maynooth University website has a chat box called Ask, where you can submit any query, and someone from the university will get back to you with an answer. So just a big thank you to all our speakers, John, Daniel, and Glory, this evening, for sharing your insights. And of course, thank you all for joining us. We hope you found the session informative and enjoyable. We wish you all the best of luck with your studies in the coming months or years, and we hope you can come to one of our coming open days in April, June, or indeed in November, later in the year. We really look forward to welcoming you to Maynooth University in the near future. But until then, take care and have a lovely evening. Bye, guys.
Bye, and thanks, Amanda, for organizing.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Glory.
Bye.